Mr. Kiley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. McKnight, I appreciated your testimony and certainly, understand the harm that is done that is sort of unique when we're talking about live sports, that there's a real value proposition to actual live consumption. So, a remedy that is delayed even by an hour or so is insufficient. So we've talked about various potential remedies, maybe redefining expeditiously to mean instantaneously or near instantaneously. Could you help me understand kind of how the mechanics of this work? Like if there's a fight going on, how do you sort of in the moment find the illegal streams and then alert the ISPs?
Sure, there's a number of ways. I mean, some of the ISPs have automatic, to the extent you can identify and digital the technology, depending upon how good the stream is and the quality of it, can identify it and pull it down. Where we have the issues is where we then have to identify and then submit these takedown requests. And then it's a question of how fast do they take action after that, after those requests are submitted. And we're seeing very, very uneven performance. In some areas, there's just non-responsiveness, and that's when you're seeing things like hours to days. And then with other, sites we've worked with, we've social media platforms that we've worked with, we've seen it happen 7, 8, 9 minutes. It's not terrible, but it's not effective. And most importantly, we know it's not the best they can do because it's been better.
Right.
We've had conversations and seen things improve, but only momentarily, only to go back to sort of like the problematic practice that we observed long time.
You said that the ISPs, if the quality of the stream is good enough, they can find it. How do they do that? How do they?
They have technology. Like say, if someone holds their phone up to a screen, depending upon the quality of which that stream is put forth on a social media platform, for example, there is technology that can identify it as a problematic stream and then automatically take it down.
Okay.
Off of, say, off of a social media platform of your choice.
So it's automatic. In other words, the technology identifies this as a copy,
Correct.
Essentially, and there's no need for notice and takedown and for a person to approve it. It just comes down.
Correct. In those instances where that can be identified.
So is there a way to incorporate that technology even on the provider side where you could sort of include it in,
giving us access? Yeah, one particular provider has offered to do that, but many others haven't. But yes, I mean, there are technological potential to develop that type of technology, and some folks have it already. They're just not putting their best foot forward. Look, without making accusations, the natural commercial incentive, if you're running one of these sites, is the more users you have viewing content over your site, the better it is for you commercially. Right? So you don't necessarily have the incentive to put your best foot forward here. And if you look at the law the way it's currently constructed, it's not clear that we have a case that hours isn't expeditiously, or that even a day isn't expeditiously. The point we're making is if you're dealing with a live event as opposed to something like a movie, and there are other issues there that have been explained well by my co-panelists, that isn't expeditiously. It's definitionally not expeditiously not to take down something after it's already over.
Right.
In effect, the commercial value of is gone.
I mean, is there any way to, I think there is a way. You could, with the technology where sort of it can just be scrambled or whatever, so you don't have to have an act of taking it down per se. It's just that it doesn't actually, I don't know, Mr. Schurz, do you want to weigh in on that as well? Maybe you have some technical expertise. So, I'm just trying to understand the nature of what's available technologically so that can inform the best solution from a policy perspective.
The filtering technology is sadly not magic, and there's no metadata that says this is an infringing stream, although perhaps humans can determine from certain contextual clues whether or not something is authorized, although we can get that wrong too.
But how can you not make that, like if you have one authorized transmission, wouldn't any retransmission of that sort of be by definition unauthorized, so that couldn't be identified?
So there's a crucial piece of data there, which is what is the authorized transmission. And a number of leading services do allow and invite live sporting events to pre-identify what content is lawful. They may furnish hashes that allow for real-time filtering. But that does require data and inter-industry collaboration to ensure that the digital services have the tools to prevent the content from being ingested into their system And of course, that all assumes that this isn't just a hyperlink to some site
Right.
elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you have anything else you wanted to add? Sorry, Mr. McKnight.
Well, I would just say in our case, we only have one legitimate authorized partner in the U.S., which is ESPN Plus. So if our live events are being shown anywhere else, it's definitionally unauthorized.
Right, right. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank the judge.